Welcome to another edition of News Bites here on Daily World Television. My name is Kal Korff and I'm your host. People are reflecting over the recent terrorist attack in London. It's not the only one that's ever happened. It's just the latest one to strike Europe. And what is disturbing when one analyzes what happened and how this crime injured over 50 people and has killed at least 5, perhaps 7 soon. Let's examine a few things and break it apart here and explain why this is inexcusable and why it must not happen again. The first problem has to do with the British government. Britain, like practically every other European country except Russia, is very good at reacting after something has happened, after people have been killed, but they're terrible at being proactive or taking preventative measures. Let me give you one example. The day that this terrorist attack occurred was the 1-year anniversary of the Brussels terrorist attack. Hello. We must remember that Islamic militants, terrorists, take dates very seriously. They revere the date that Osama bin Laden was born. They revere the date and swear death to the West and death to America, the day that he was killed in that CIA Navy SEAL operation in Abbottabad, Pakistan. So dates are very important. Dates are symbolic. They're used as propaganda to try to convert people to believe what you do. And terrorists are very good at that. There's millions of people that follow radical Islam because they've essentially been brainwashed. So you would think that on the anniversary of a very serious attack in Brussels, that Europe authorities would be on alert. They weren't. London wasn't on alert. So what this terrorist did is he jumped into a vehicle, drove it, mowed down innocent civilians, injured several, over 50, a couple of them in critical condition. They are expected to die in the next few days, according to medical reports. And what has happened is a repeat of what happened in France. They also used vehicles. In Germany, another vehicle was used. What British officials should have done, especially on this 1-year anniversary, was put barricades up around high-value target areas, which includes, not surprisingly, the bridge over Westminster as well as the Parliament. And this terrorist, after he crashed his vehicle, got out and then went to the Parliament building, headed in that direction. He was armed with knives at that point. He stabbed a person who stopped to question him, and then of course was eventually killed by the police. He was shot. And that raises a second issue: guns. Britain has very tight gun control laws. It's very hard to buy a weapon in Britain, a pistol or a rifle, unless you use it for things like fox hunting. Go figure. So this includes police officers. Most of the police in England don't have guns. They don't even have a baton. They don't have pepper spray. They've got no weapon to defend themselves. In India, that's the same case as well. Most police officers do not have a gun. They don't carry a baton. So what happens when you run into a criminal or a terrorist who is armed, who has at least a pistol, if not worse? That officer has no chance. And yet the British government expects these officers to hold the line and protect people. Well, how are they going to do that? The government does not empower them to do so. So, when you have this combination of dynamics going on, the officers don't have the equipment to do the job they want to do, that they're supposedly empowered to do, and then you have officials who are so concerned about the safety and security of citizens that they don't even up the security precautions taken on the anniversaries of recent terrorist attacks in Europe. You combine those two elements and you have what happened. Another terrorist attack, dozens of people hurt or killed, and there's no excuse for it. Now, it's understood that you cannot defend the whole world, and maybe you could not have prevented this terrorist attack itself. But that's not the point. You are at least obligated to take the basic measures that would have been common sense preventative moves, proactive moves, to try to thwart such an incident. those were never taken. And Prime Minister Theresa May's government, instead of ducking the issue, needs to look itself in the mirror, needs to autopsy itself very honestly and say, what can we really do? What can we really change to help ensure that this just doesn't keep continuing? Because it's going to continue until the right measures are put in place to stop it from happening. It's common sense. The enemy, the terrorists in this case, because of their hate-driven ideology, they're not just going to quit and call it a day. It's going to continue to go on and go on and go on until it is ultimately defeated. It's either they win or the other side wins. But both sides cannot be